I got another video for y'all. This Queen's Court season 2, episode 4. Let's get into it. So when they was at the racetrack, I thought they was gonna be the ones that's driving, but they in the back seat while there's a person driving. So this shit is no fun. But they pretty much doing a speed date, pun intended. They did a flashback to when Lisa Ray was conversating with Kenny, and she was like, "Yeah, he gave me his book." Keyword his. I'm thinking to myself, hold on, Kenny, you an author? So what's all that comedy shit about, nigga? We would have took some spoken word. we would have took a poem. We would have took a sonnet. This nigga sat up here and went up there with that comedy. Nigga, you're a writer. Be a writer, nigga. You're not a comedian. The one dude who didn't get chose for the date during the little racetrack thing is talking to the host couple, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm having a fun time or whatever." And the dude in the host couple, I'm sorry, y'all, we've been through a whole season and a half, and I still don't know. It's Rodney, and I forget the woman's name. I'm sorry, other fourth queen. That's sad, y'all, but y'all know I barely be knowing the nigga's name in the show, but it is what it is. Who we see, the whole episode. I mean, you do see the host couple during the episode, but it's like they pop up like at the beginning to tell them what the dates is, the middle to check, and then the end for the elimination dinner. But that's beside the point, whatever. The dude was in his confessional like, "Oh, I'm a behind the scenes kind of guy. I'm not for the red carpet or for taking pictures. You're in the wrong spot, nigga." Then he's like, "Oh, I don't compete." Oh, here we go. Another non-competitor. Get him the fuck out of here. I'm so tired of when you niggas say that. And you know what I'm starting to realize is when y'all say that shit, it's not because you don't compete. It's because you can't compete. And that goes back to what I was saying about conventionally attracted people not having to do anything. Because when they get on these shows, you always see them be like, "Oh, I don't compete." Oh, so if you're just really that nigga how you say you are, and you got all this shit going for yourself, you're the full package, you're a 10, then why won't you compete? Because this shit should really be easy for you. It should be light. That's like if you hoop and you sit there and you talk shit the whole game like, "Oh, these niggas can't guard me. These niggas can't hold me. They can't fuck with me." And a nigga like, "Oh, well, play me one-on-one." Nigga, why I gotta do that? Like, nigga, you just said you was unguardable. You said niggas couldn't fuck with you, can't nobody guard you. Play one-on-one. No, bro, because that's not really a good measurable for if niggas could really guard you or fuck with you or not. That don't make sense. Like, no, nigga, you are guardable, nigga. And that's the same thing with this. Niggas getting on here, "Oh, I don't compete." Nigga, you don't compete because one, you never had to, and two, you can't compete. Because if you really could, then you really wouldn't even be competing, quote unquote, if that makes sense to y'all. You wouldn't even really have to compete because if you was really the man, this shit would just really be easy to you. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these dudes realize that, and you ask why I brought up the conventionally attractive shit. I bring that up because, like I said, locally, you are the apple of everybody's eye. You feel me? In your own little town or whatever, in that bar on the strip, you are the apple of everybody's eye. But it's like, I like when conventionally attracted people come on shows like this and Love Island and any love reality TV show where they have to compete for somebody love because they can't just use that backbone and that crutch of being conventionally attractive. Now, granted, Love Island is a little bit different. Like, you can get away with that because, like I said, what young people value, they don't really too much value. Like, that show it's so fake. And I've been on here calling people actors on this show and calling out the fake bullshit on these shows and who's actors and who's, y'all know I've been doing that shit. But like when you get on shows like this and you're an older man, you can't lean on that backbone and just looking good. Okay, now you're in a room full of a bunch of niggas that look good. So what else do you niggas bring to the table? We never know because you niggas, quote unquote, don't compete. But whatever. Like I said, get his ass out of here. Lisa Ray was talking to Booker and she was like, "Yeah, when they see us, when they see me and you, they like, oh, he OG for real." And everybody like, "Oh, we heard y'all kissed." And she like, "Oh, how y'all know that?" He was like, "Yeah, y'all nosy." Damn, like you really do like Booker because everybody else invisible. When you know what I'm saying, everybody else invisible when he around because y'all literally kissed in front of the two other dudes. Like them niggas seen it with their own eyes. Did y'all genuinely forgot that happened? But whatever. London's date is ziplining. She's like, oh yeah, I'm getting out my comfort zone. I'm getting out my comfort zone. She was like, let's see who makes me the most comfortable. So Zach was up there first and he was instructing her. And she was like, Zach, have you done this before? He's a youth pastor. What do you think? He's a youth pastor. What do you think? That's all they be doing on them damn church trips. Zip lining. They be in Cancun and Bora Bora. Shit, I seen that shit. I went to a predominantly white high school, so you know how the little white girls be doing there. They, during the week, they be acting a goddamn fool. Sunday come up, they posted scriptures, all this other shit, nigga. Just Saturday night, I seen them at a party doing hard cocaina and getting their back blown. I'm like, bro, you know how that shit go. But they used to go on them church trips. I used to look at that shit like, what the fuck? Nigga, why the fuck is they in Jamaica? They're like, yeah, we're preaching the word of God. I'm like, well, let me convey God's message as well. Shit, nigga. Man, if I knew niggas was getting down like this, let me convey the word of God in Jamaica. Let me convey the word of God in Hawaii. I'm all for it. Shit, y'all should have let me know. They be at Niagara Falls and shit like. I'm like, hold on. Anyway, so on the dirt bike ride, which was Lisa Ray's date, she took turn with each of the guys who was on the date, and it was Kenny's turn, and he had his hands on his thighs, talking about I don't want the guys to think I'm pushing up on Lisa Ray. Nigga, I don't give a fuck what them niggas think. Booker kissed her in front of me. I'm done being hospitable. That shit's out the window. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I'm not playing it humble no more. Shit, I'm not trying to make it seem. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. That nigga Booker kissed her in front of us, turned and looked and smiled at us. I'm done being hospitable. That's over with. that's out the window. I don't give a fuck what these niggas think. Game on. So when David rode with Lisa Ray, they ran into some branches and he was pushing branches off her and shit. And then they ended up kissing. So when they got back to the beginning of the trail, Kenny was like, oh, how'd that work? He crashed, but he get a kiss? Like, oh, don't start, nigga. You had your hands in your pocket. I don't even think you wanted a kiss. I can't even say Kenny wanted a kiss for real. And then once she pulled off, once she pulled David for a one-on-one, Booker was like, I should have crashed. Nigga, you just should have kissed her. I mean, like, hell, y'all already been doing that. What's up with everybody today? Like, nigga, Booker talking about I should have crashed. No, nigga, you just should have kissed her like you've already been doing prior to this point. I don't understand. So, on K. Michelle's date, she was doing archery, and she was like, whoever gets closer to the target gets to have one-on-one time with me. And Chris had done this shit when he was younger, so he sat up and talked all that shit. He sat up and talked all that shit, and Ben ended up winning a time with K. Michelle. So Chris was in his confession like, hey, I just got here, and you had time with her before. Nigga, so what? Compete. You talked all that rah-rah, and now you sitting up here bitching about this shit not being fair. It's not supposed to be. Ben competed, and Ben won the time with K. Michelle, so that's what it was. Oh, he had time with her, so that's not fair. Nigga, nobody gives a fuck, nigga. And that nigga sat up there. He was the only nigga doing that. The rest of the niggas was chilling. It was a cool vibe. But having Chris around, like, if I'm a guy, I can't even have a nigga like Chris around me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what? Nigga, we all sitting here. This is fun. This is fun for us. Like, yeah, we competitive a little bit, but you really getting into this shit. And how them other niggas didn't know that he did that archery shit before was killing me, because that nigga literally didn't miss the target one time. Like, trust me, if you've never done archery before, which I've never done, if you've never done archery before, you're not going to get out there and hit the target every time you shoot the motherfucking bow. It's just, that's not how it goes. You shoot the bow and arrow. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to hit the target every time, nigga. But he was hitting that motherfucker every time. And then he was like really getting into the shit for real. Like, I think he instructed Nosh or something to do something, and he hit the target, and he was like, oh, I shouldn't have taught you shit. Which, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking he on his funny haha type shit. Like, no, this nigga's dead ass. Like, who says that about something that we both have, quote unquote, never done before? You know what I'm saying? Like, we both sitting up here trying to learn. You giving me tips, and now you show me this shit. And you dead serious gonna sit up here and say, oh, I should not taught you that shit. Like, this nigga's weird. So Rod, that's the dude's name who doesn't compete and who didn't get asked on the date on the little racetrack shit. He didn't show up to the elimination dinner, and we all know why. Rodney was like, oh, let me go see about Rodney. Fuck that nigga. He didn't show up because he doesn't compete. And he knew the queens was not only going to tell him about himself, they was going to say he wasn't their king. So instead, he acted like he had bigger and better things to do, and like he was too good to show up. But they still ended up saying that nigga's not their king, and even better, and nobody had a connection with him. So they still said the shit with or without him. They just didn't say it to his face. So, I mean, I guess if that's a win for him, whatever. Like I said, get his ass out of here. Chris wanted to tell K. Michelle he sees the connection there with her and Ben, so he gonna take a step back. But, you know, K. Michelle really wasn't letting him get into it, and she didn't want to too much talk about it no more, so whatever. So when he told London, London was like, what's next? He was like, oh, I feel the connection with you and the interest with you. And she was in her confessional like, I don't want to do that to K. Michelle because we've been in that predicament before, referring to like Zach and how they both liked him or whatever, even though K. Michelle acted like it was over, but that's not even the point. My whole thing with that was like, these are two completely different situations. Everybody likes Zach. Nobody likes Chris. You know what I'm saying? If you tell K. Michelle like the interest is there, I'm about 99.99% sure she's gonna say, I don't give a fuck about that nigga. If you like that nigga, hey, see for yourself. You know, whatever. So in the elimination dinner, Kenny and William end up going home and Chris stays. K. Michelle keeps him for London, and she was like, hey, she finna see for herself. I'm gonna give her that opportunity, and that's really all you can do. That's the end of this one. Definitely like, subscribe, share, share with friends.